on to the other major sport where there was another championship, the Stanley Cup Finals. The Carolina Hurricanes win in Game 6, though it didn't go to 7 games, but it was a very the last game was a 3-0. It was obviously a closeout win, defining win for the Hurricanes, but overall it was a very exciting series. Jerry, what are your thoughts on the series as a whole? On Carolina winning their second Stanley Cup Finals, their last one being in 2006. What does it mean for Carolina? And your thoughts on the playoffs as a whole?
Yeah, it's kind of big for Carolina to get over the hump finally. They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know exactly the number, but it's been more than a few times within the last like 6 years. They've kind of been that upper echelon team, top of the Metro every year, but just always falling short. Mostly because the Florida Panthers were right there to meet them, and they went back to back. But the Hurricanes finally able to get over the hump in an electric series. I mean, several overtime games. They had a game where the Hurricanes were down 4-0, were down 4-0 going into the third period. Ended up scoring four in the third, including 3 goals in, what was it, 39 seconds?
39 seconds, yeah.
That is insane. Insane to do not only in the regular season, but to do that in a Stanley Cup final is just absolutely ridiculous. They forced OT, ended up losing the game in double OT. But still, just an electric series. I didn't watch a ton of it. I followed it as it went, and just after reading the highlights of every game, it seemed like every game was just like wall to wall action. As the NHL playoffs always are. The NHL playoffs are always electric to watch. For those of you who are not NHL fans, give it a try. Trust me, it's awesome.
Not
But
even
yeah,
just the
go
not
ahead.
even just the playoffs. If you get an opportunity to watch hockey, whether that be on TV or specifically live, I
Live.
still to this yeah, I still to this day think live hockey is the best sport to witness. I mean, there's nothing like it, especially if you can get somewhat close to the ice. Like even if you
Mhm.
can't, it's still incredible. We're lucky enough to be around the Blue Jackets where there's not a bad seat in the house, but it's incredible to watch live. Um, more on Jerry and I used to drive up to Columbus from Athens back in the day every once in a while just to attend some of the NHL games. But anyway, back
Yep.
to the Stanley Cup Finals. You know, who were some of the key players for both teams that led to Carolina being able to win this in 6? Jerry.
Well, it's kind of interesting because yes, Jordan Stahl wins the Conn Smythe Trophy, which for those of you who don't know, actually, it's kind of interesting. The NHL does it a different way for their postseason MVP award. Every other league does like the finals series MVP or like the Super Bowl MVP. The NHL is for the entire playoffs. So you could have a situation, and they have had a situation in it was like 20 years ago, where a player from the losing team actually won the MVP award in the finals because they were the best throughout the entire playoffs. But Jordan Stahl winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, being the playoffs MVP, he's got to be the most important player on that team. I know he won it like 17 years ago, not the MVP, but the Stanley Cup with the Penguins about 17 years ago in 2009. So he's the captain of that team. He's the cornerstone of the team. But you got to give credit to their goaltending because Frederick Anderson came into the series as the starting goaltender. He goes down with an injury, and they have to bring in their backup, Brandon Bussey, to be the starting goaltender. I forget which game he ended up coming in, but I mean,
I believe
a
his
shutout,
first game was the first OT game.
the first OT game. Okay, so he posts a shutout in the series clinching, the Stanley Cup Finals clinching game. You got to give kudos to him for coming in to step in like that because that is not an easy job to do.
Not at all. That's actually absurd.
Yeah.
And if you think about the amount of pressure on a goalie, on top of the amount of pressure of being in the Stanley Cup Finals, on top of being a backup, that's absolutely incredible. On the flip side, you know, uh, I know that some people were relishing that the Golden Knights goaltender struggled. Is there anything you can say on what his issues were? Was it just? I mean, as someone who's not super versed in hockey, is it just a bad series, or is it indicative of something that Carolina does well that their goalkeeping does not do well, or any thoughts on that? Not to throw a fastball to your face here,
No,
but just
it's
curious.
a good point though. I think it goes both ways. I think the Hurricanes are just that good of a team to where they can pile it on. But I mean, it happens to every athlete, right? They go through a cold spell. It just it
Hmm.
happens. Sometimes it
Hmm.
just happens at the most unfortunate times. Um, kind of happened a little bit with Mitch Marner, who was playing for the Maple Leafs the last couple years since he came into the league. Went to the Golden Knights this offseason, kind of elevated them in the regular season. It just kind of didn't show up in the final series. Again, it just happens to players, and
Yeah.
it it's tough to get out of. Sometimes, like I said, it happens in the most unfortunate times, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
With the biggest spotlight, yeah, that's unfortunate. Real quick question on your last point too. You said that the way they do it, the way they give out their MVP is throughout the entire playoffs. Has anybody that hasn't played on the two finals teams ever won it,
I
or is it
I don't believe so.
okay?
I
I'm
don't want
just
to
curious.
say I don't want to 100% say no, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
like 99% sure no.
That would
Um,
be it'd be
it'd be
a very
absurd.
unique situation. Yeah, it'd be an
Yeah.
absurd situation, but I was just wondering, Jason, is someone kind of on my side of it where kind of watch from afar, appreciate from afar, but don't really know, and probably should get to learn more, but don't really know the teams and players super well. Any thoughts that you had on the Stanley Cup Finals? Anything you saw that you wanted to speak on?
Your mic is
You
muted, Jason.
muted. You muted.
I did fact check what Jerry had said. It was six times in 2002, 2006, 2009, 2019, 2023, and 2026. But yeah, no, I mean, I did not know much about it. Honestly, I didn't even know what was going on with the NBA talk that was happening and the wedding that we
Mhm.
went to. I had no idea what was happening. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Hands up. I'm not even gonna
Hey,
lie to you.
hey.
But
No one will say we're not an honest sports
hey,
show.
That's
I
right.
will tell
No
you the truth.
unethical hoops on this podcast, okay?
That's right.
So
Maybe
I
not a lot
don't.
of ball knowers, but ethical
Hey,
hoops.
it just depends on the ball. Pause. Um, but yes, I didn't watch much of it, but from the news, it seemed very interesting. I do want to get more into hockey. Um, like you said, live hockey is probably some of the best sports you can watch, and but it was interesting to hear. So that's
Well,
what I got.
congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes winning their second Stanley Cup. It's great for the sports world when, you have stuff to watch. We're now about to get into the time of the year where we don't have a lot of stuff to watch. So, at least last week we had the final the final push of things to pay attention to. We don't even have OTAs to look at anymore. It's basically MLB or but. Well, that's not true. We have some other stuff, and we'll get to that later. Before we move on, Jerry, any final thoughts on the Stanley Cup Finals?
Nope. Congrats to the Hurricanes. Hopefully the Jackets can get there at some point.
That's right. Oh my
We'll
God, what a
see.
disappointing! Would have just blow it up after the end of that season. That was crazy,
Unreal. They're playing like
insane
the
for the
best team in the league for 2 months, and then
yeah.
just completely forgot to play. Forgot how to play hockey. It was unreal to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, for those that don't know, the Blue Jackets were really bad. Then they fired their head coach, and then they were the best team in hockey for 2 months. And there was like a 99% chance they were going to make the playoffs. And then they like lost every game down the
They
stretch.
were second in their division at one point.
Yeah, yeah, yep. They went from being second to last in the entire East, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they second to last in the entire East? And then they went, excuse me, to second in their division. Looked like they were going to be a hard out in the playoffs to literally fumbling down the stretch, terribleness, very embarrassing.
We
Uh,
did we did have Zach Wierenski win the Norris Trophy for best defenseman in the league, though. So congrats
which
to
is
him.
cool. Congrats to him. But again, congrats to the Carolina Hurricanes. Blue Jackets, better luck next year.